Saucony. You know them from the Kinvara. You know them from not actually knowing how to pronounce the brand name until you go into the running store and hope the person working there says the name before you have to. You know them probably from the Endorphin Speed and Pro lines that they released in 2022. These shoes were huge hits. I knew people suggesting them from my coach, from the internet, from social media, from everywhere. Everybody seemed to love the Endorphin Pro and Speed line. In June or July of 2022, I saw some chatter about stackable promo codes on the shoes that I was probably going to be able to get a pair for about $60. I figured, okay, I'm a New Balance person. I'm not a brand shill or anything, but the way my feet are constructed, I know if I buy a New Balance shoe, it's going to fit. My midfoot isn't going to get squeezed into oblivion, and I'm not going to have to throw $120 down the drain. But I really didn't know how the speeds were going to do on my foot. But at $60, it wasn't going to hurt too much if I didn't like them. So I got a pair of the Pros, and I got a pair of the Speeds. And the Pros I didn't really end up loving, but the Speeds became my favorite versatile all-around shoe probably that I have ever bought, at least since the Vase Paces from New Balance many years ago. Everyone seemed to love them, and now I finally understood why. These shoes are poppy, they're cushioned, they're bouncy. There's something about them that checks all of the boxes that you really want for a pair of workout shoes. For me, I love them for long runs too. It had the kind of the benefits of the super shoes where I wouldn't feel quite as tired muscularly at the end of a long run after I had worn them, but they had a nylon plate in them, so I felt like using them for workouts was actually pretty good as well. That's usually what I stuck to with them for a while, but at this point, I'm just wearing them into the ground. I've got about 800 miles across two pairs of these Speeds, and they're not dead yet. I've got 500 miles on one, and I've got 300 miles on the other, and I cannot seem to kill them. But you know how runners are. If we have a pair of favorite shoes, we kind of like to stockpile them. I literally have one more pair of the Pegasus 33s in my closet right now. The foam is shot. There is no way I will be running in them, but I bought enough that they would last me 5 or 6 years, however long it's been. And I feel the need to do that with these Speeds because I love them. So recently I went looking for new shoes. I was kind of needing to rotate a few out, and I just decided to look. I started looking on Saucony's website because that's where all the sales had been running before. I figured that at this point the 3s had been out for about 14 months, so I might not see a lot of 2s. But, if they've been out for 14 months, surely I'm going to start catching sales on those, right? Wrong. Nowhere. Not Saucony, not Runner's Warehouse, not Fleet Feet, not Amazon, nowhere. All full price for the 3s still. So I checked. I double checked. I know I said 14 months, but I had to go back and double check because at 14 months they're usually already throwing a new pair at you and the old ones they're trying to liquidate. That's not happening here. So I started thinking, and it kind of hit me. I got. Saucony put a killer pair of shoes out at insane pricing to get us all hooked. And then they put the 3s out, and they're never going to put them on sale. Never. Never going to put those suckers on sale because they don't have to, because they've got us right where they wanna. Most brands will release great shoes and then follow them up with a pair of crappy shoes that everybody hates and makes everyone angry. But not Saucony. They put out an excellent pair of shoes that hardly changed anything, and so everybody still loves it. They're just going to keep giving us great shoes, but they're going to make us pay full price for them now. So that led me to ask, what did Saucony know, and when did they know it? When the Speed 2s launched, did Saucony intend to give us the most versatile, best all-around pair of shoes in the plated shoe era? Did they know that in the supply-constrained environment of 2022, these shoes would be the most well-received shoe across the market? Did they sell the shoe at a loss to try to entice people who ordinarily probably wouldn't have tried it to go ahead and pick up a pair knowing that the follow-up shoe was going to be an absolute banger and that people would be willing to pay full price for them. Most importantly, did Saucony realize that they were going to release one of my all-around favorite pairs of shoes that I have ever purchased in my life? And did they bet that I would be willing to pay full price for the sequel? All joking aside, I really do wonder if this was Saucony's master plan all along. There was a lot of supply chain malarkey going on in 2022 when these shoes released. And I do think that a lot of folks tried the brand and tried these shoes specifically because they didn't have a lot of other options. There were a lot of shoes that did not get released because they could not get made. Saucony didn't have their manufacturing plants in the same places that the other brands did, so when those brands got knocked out from widespread COVID infections or restrictions based on those, Saucony didn't have that problem. So they were able to get production going when other brands couldn't. The drastic sales, honestly, last year did not make a whole lot of sense to me when I was buying them. I was certainly grateful, but I didn't really understand it. I still don't know that the sales necessarily had to be that drastic to get people to try them, but it certainly worked, at least in getting the shoes on people's feet. Whether or not they're going to have as much success with the threes, I think is really going to be dependent on what other brands are able to release. But I do think that they've bought themselves a lot of goodwill by releasing 2 great shoes in a row and not messing with success, which is something that a lot of other brands can't seem to stop themselves from doing. I was able to find another pair of Speed 2s, so I don't have a pair of the 3s yet. I am sure I'll be able to put hundreds and hundreds of miles on the pair that I was able to find, and I hope that at some point I will get to try the 3s, but I'm also hoping that when I do need to, they are finally on sale.